Good morning. Welcome to the Capricorn new moon. Is it new moon? Full moon? I'm not sure. How's everybody feeling today? Let me know in the comments how you're feeling. Let me know if you're in our reset programs and if you've noticed any big shifts. Give people a moment to get in the room. Today we're going to do a few movements, answer some questions, maybe bring some people up. Good morning, good morning. Feeling better now that I think the new moon is probably at its peak. Does anybody know what time it peaked? Does anybody feel the shift? The feeling that I've had over the last few weeks has been like everything's gonna be okay, but everything feels unstable beneath me. Has anybody else been feeling that? Hola, señor.
Hola.
Like things are gonna work out, but all the pieces are about to move. That's the feeling I've had. I'm seeing a lot of people make drastic shifts. You know, you thought that they were going one way and now all of a sudden they're going another. Hi, Mara. It peaked at 6:30 a.m. in Florida. Okay, so it's already peaked. Francesca, hello. Yeah, I had over the last few months, I've had little like whispers or intuitive messages that certain people or certain things were going to happen. And I just kind of waited it out. I didn't act on it. I didn't talk about it. I didn't make any stories about it. I just waited and thought that that's an interesting message to receive. And it was about the direction that people were going and specific people, not just general, but you know, this person might change here. This person might go and take this job over there. This person might do this there. And I'm starting to see that happen. And I think over the next few weeks, you might get surprised by the people around you in the direction that they're going, the decisions that they're making. It might not make sense. But if you look at the astrology and the way that the world is changing and the direction that everything is going, it does make sense. People are no longer willing to put up with the things that they don't enjoy. Is there an organ reset for the pancreas? Yeah. If you do the organ reset just over the pancreas area, that will work. Also, one of the things that helps with the pancreas too is the fascial sweet. It's one of our products. It's actually a sweetener that stabilizes your blood sugar. So instead of spiking it when you drink it, it actually helps stabilize your blood sugar levels. So if you have like a morning cacao or a morning tea, you can put that in instead of using sugar. Sugar is really, really not good for the body, but this one's natural and it supports the body's healing mechanisms. Yeah, you can do the belly fascia release without assistance. We can do it together. So what you'll do is you're going to take your right hand and you place it on your belly button with the fingers down. Push in and then twist, so you do a thumbs up. And you're pushing in about 1 centimeter and hold it there. And if you want to, you don't have to, but if you want to, you can go right on your spine with your other hand, directly opposite, and twist in the opposite direction. And you're twisting the fascia through there. If you were on my live the other day, we talked about the fascial connection in the belly button. And if you're twisting the fascia over that area, a lot of emotions, a lot of trauma can come out. And you can breathe deep into your belly. You can say affirmations. You can just hold it there. There's different levels, different layers. Depends how deep you want to go. And when you're ready, you can let it go, shake it off. Now, if you want to, you can have a partner to do that with you. That is on our YouTube channel, where you can actually watch how to do it with a partner. And we're going to film more of those videos now. Now that we've done, or almost done, the new 28-day life reset, we're going to start focusing on creating content that's more partner related. Menopause, a lot of people who've done our programs have come out of menopause, or their symptoms have depreciated. So just by reducing stress over time, the body's natural healing process kicks in and the hormones and everything starts to rebalance itself. That hurt your spine. Yeah, I mean, if you've got a lot of tension in there, it might hurt. We can also do the psoas release, so releasing the fascia over the intestines. That'll also help in that area. So what you're doing with this one is you're taking both hands on the belly button, go 2 inches to the right and an inch down, and pull the fascia up, like you're stretching the skin. And it'll feel like a tearing or burning sensation in your hip or the front. And you're gonna step your opposite leg forward. So your left leg forward and then lean back and breathe. In through the nose. Whew. And relax. Shake it off. It's hard to be around other people who are stressed while I'm trying to be stress-free. You know what? That's actually that's an interesting one to bring up, because there's this idea that the monks have it right, where they go and they live in a temple and they meditate for like 30 hours a day, even though there's not even 30 hours in a day. And look at them, they're so happy, they're so calm, whatever. But the moment they go into the real world, what happens? They're in a stressful environment. And how they react or respond to that environment is really the mastery. So it's okay to hide in a cave while you're learning about yourself, but when you go out into the real world, can you actually apply the tools that you've learned while you were in that cave? And that's what we want to do here. Is it's not about hiding and sheltering and shielding and protecting myself from others. It's about understanding myself, having the tools to help myself, and maintain harmony and balance irrespective of what's going on around me. Because I won't always be able to control the situations around me. If someone honks at me, I can't control that. But am I going to get irritated by it? If someone cuts me off in traffic, am I going to get irritated by it? If somebody's late or no-shows on an appointment, am I going to be frustrated by that? How I react to situations is what I have control of. And sheltering is not the answer, because at some point someone's going to enter the room or enter your environment and you're going to be tested. It's about learning how to take the tools that you're gathering here and applying it in your day-to-day life so that you can go anywhere at any time and maintain balance. That's the goal. The goal is not to meditate in a cave and be stress-free every single day. I mean, if you want to do that, you can, but I want to be around people. I want to be in a community. I want to interact with the outside world, but I want to live healthy. And there's a balance point, and that balance point is how I take care of me day to day and how I react to the world around me. And the thing is, if I take care of myself a little bit every single day, that compounds. And by the time a stressful situation arises, I'm ready for it. But if I'm not taking care of myself, and then a stressful situation comes and I just start doing a couple quick maneuvers really fast, trying to get rid of all the stress, it's like, yeah, that doesn't really work that way. I mean, it will help, but the idea is that you're doing it every single day, a little bit every single day, until it's compounded so much that it takes a lot to bring you out of balance. Like if your cup is completely empty, you can put a lot of stress in there before you react. But if it's full, it takes the tiniest little thing and that cup overflows and you explode, or you spontaneously erupt. And that's when it's not so good. So the idea is to empty your cup over and over and over and over and over again over a long period of time, so that you have so much room to add stress in. You have so much room and space between the situation that's in front of you and how you react to it. One of the things that was really interesting for me in my journey of learning about stress and learning about reactions was when I experimented with psilocybin every single day. We did an experiment like way back at the beginning of this, of Human Garage. And what we had done is we took a little bit, microdose every single day for about a year. And I had started at a small amount, and I took that same amount every day for 3 weeks. And I would slowly progress up, and I would take that amount for 3 weeks. And then I'd slowly progress up, and I would take that amount for 3 weeks. And I just constantly kept doing that until I wasn't affected by it. But one of the most eye-opening experiences for me was when I was playing spike ball. So spike ball, for those of you who don't know, it's like volleyball. It's a net on the floor or on the ground, and you have two people against each other, and you're hitting the ball against the net, and when it hits the ground, then the other team gets a point. And you can run anywhere. So instead of going over a net and you have to stay in the bounds, there's no bounds. So we're playing this game, and I usually would play games 21-19, 21-20, 21-18. So it was always super close. Like it was, I would win, but it would be very close. And one day I had my dose, and I ended up winning every game 21-5, 21-4, 21-8, 21-6. And the people I was playing against, they were all like, what the heck? Like, what's going on? How are you so good all of a sudden? Do you know what happened? I reduced my cup, the stress in my cup. I emptied my cup, so I had more time to react. So the ball would hit the net, it would bounce up, and I could see everything. I could process all the information, and I could choose how to react in real time. Instead of reacting, I was actually consciously acting, and it changed my ability to perform. So I ended up destroying everybody, and they were all like, this isn't even fair, like what's going on? So what it taught me was my level of stress dictated how I reacted to the world. If I'm really stressed, I react. If I'm not stressed, I can process that information and I can make a conscious action. And that's when you start to take control of your life again. If you're reacting to your world, that's based on habits and programs. And you're going to constantly loop those reactions. You're going to constantly run those programs every time that stimulus comes up. But if you have the time and the space to process and choose how to act, you can choose to act differently than you have in the past, which means your life changes. This is a fundamental piece to changing the way that you interact with the world. Most of what you do in a day, like 95% of the things that you do in a day, is an automatic program. When you learn to drive, you are hyper-focused on the road. You are hyper-focused on the rules. You are hyper-focused on doing the right things. But over time, you become experienced, and then your body learns how to drive with or without you. So you drive home now, and you're talking to a friend, you're on the phone, whatever. You get home, and you forget that you even drove home. You don't even remember it. The reason why is your body knows how to drive so well that it was able to drive for you. That's your life. 95% of the things that you do in a day today is an automatic program that is being executed from the things that you've done in your past. So if you want to change your life, you have to consciously choose the action in that moment. But if you're stressed, boom, you're going to go to automatic program. If you're relaxed, you can choose consciously to act differently. And then your life will change. And this is fundamental. So what did psilocybin teach me? It taught me that when I was in stress, I was reacting to my world. But when I was out of stress, I could act differently. The other thing it taught me was life is bringing us into a low. So here is our baseline. If you are stressed at work, you go a little bit lower. If you're stressed by the chemicals in your food, you go even lower. If you have an argument with your partner, you go even lower. Now you're down here. You're at a very low point. And this is your normal point. If you take something like psilocybin, what it does is it brings you back to normal for a moment. But the difference between where you are, the low, and the normal is how high you experience. So that's why when people take it and they're really stressed, they're like laughing like crazy, uncontrollable. It's because they're so low that the difference between their low and their normal is high. Now, how did I learn this? I took the same amount every single day for 3 weeks, to the point where it no longer impacted me. Then I got into an argument with my partner at the time, and that same amount that I had taken all of a sudden made me high. So I was sitting here taking the same dose. I was normal. I didn't have a high experience. It was completely normal. All of a sudden I get in an argument, I go low. I took the same dose that I always took, and it brought me up to here again. It brought me back to normal. And that difference was how high I was. And it made me understand that taking it repetitively over time was not a tolerance thing. Because people say, oh, when you take it all the time, it's based on tolerance. No, you're actually getting used to that level of stress. You're habituating that level of stress. So if I take it every day, I'm going to habituate having no stress. And then if I experience stress, I'm going to go down, and then I take the same amount, I'm going to be high again. So it's important to understand that life is bringing you low. And that low means you can't taste the world the same that you do. You can't hear the world the same that you do. You can't smell the world the same that you do when you're a kid. When you're a kid, you can bring in all the sensations and all the feelings and all the emotions at the highest level. And as you get older and you become stressed, all of those senses start to get, they start to suppress. So you see less, you hear less, you smell less, you feel less, you taste less. And that's what happens over time. So reduce stress over time, you'll get all of your senses back. I hope that makes sense. It's not based on tolerance, it's based on your level of stress. And another example, and I haven't thought this one through, but let's talk it through. So if I take coffee every single day, coffee is a stressor to the human body. It stresses you into having energy and to focus. It drives adrenaline. So if you take a cup, it drives you into a stressed state so you can focus, you feel grounded, and more alert and more energized, right? But that's still bringing you into a different state. Now, if you're used to operating at that state all the time, that same cup is not going to give you that feeling anymore because you're used to being there all the time. The brain's job is to make anything that you experience for a period of time feel normal. So if you take one cup, you get stressed from it. It makes you focused, energized, and grounded. Now all of a sudden, you get used to that. Now you need more because you need to go higher because you're so used to it. Eventually, you'll get to a point where you're out of stress so much that you don't want that level of stress when you put coffee in your body. How is that going to make you feel? People get used to running on adrenaline, and then eventually they burn out. That's why when you do the faster maneuvers, they crash. They get extremely tired. It's because you've been running on hormonal energy for a long time. But if you come out of that stress cycle and you reduce stress over a long period of time and you stop drinking coffee, eventually you'll get to a point where if you take it, it'll actually throw you off balance. Coffee reason for short attention. The reason for short attention, I wouldn't necessarily blame coffee. I would say if you're stressed in your body, then there's too much information coming at you. So imagine being like a multitasking mom, right? they're cooking, they're prepping lunch for the kid, they're on the phone with grandma, the dog's barking, like all this stuff's happening, right? Well, it's pretty hard to focus. That's what happens inside your body when you're stressed. You've got pain in your toe, your organ's not working properly, you're stressed out about work, you're not sleeping well, you just put chemicals in your gut, you had an argument with someone. Now your body and your emotions are shaking because there's just so much information that needs to be processed that your brain starts racing and then you can't focus. If you calm the body down, you calm the brain down. There's a lot of medications that are being given out today that suppress the body and it signals to the brain. So you suppress the body and you suppress the emotions, so then the mind calms down. But what does that do to you long term? Because you're still stressed. You just don't perceive that you're stressed. Now take that 10 years and then watch what happens. If you take people off of SSRIs, they age rapidly because they didn't process all those emotions and all that information for like a decade. Now you take them off of it, all of a sudden all that information comes to the surface, and because it wasn't processed in real time, they age. Kratom. I've heard good things. I've heard it's banned in certain countries because it is a natural opioid. I don't believe in using anything long term. I think that everything has a purpose, and if your intention is to use it to get you to the next level, that's different. If your purpose is to use it and stay on it for a long period of time, then that's not a good idea. For example, when I did psilocybin every day, I was using it as a tool to teach me how to operate at a different level. And I would use it for 3 weeks, I would stop for 3 weeks, then I would use it for 3 weeks, and I'd stop for 3 weeks. And every time I stopped, I watched my behaviors, and I watched how I changed. And the difference between the changes that happened over that 3-week period taught me that I was not able to maintain the frequency that it was bringing me to. Until one day I stopped for 3 weeks, took it, stopped for 3 weeks, took it, and it didn't affect me anymore. Because I started to operate at that frequency because it was a tool that taught me all the things that I needed to do in order to maintain that frequency. So these are tools. They teach you. If you have cacao or MDMA or sassafras, it opens up your heart. If you've never had your heart open before and it opens up your heart, all of a sudden you feel connected to the world, you feel energized, you feel focused, you feel like you want to connect with others, and you've never experienced that before. Well, now you're going to try and find ways to get that feeling again. So do you continue to take the drug or the medicine or whatever it is that brought you there the first time, or do you memorize the feeling that it gave you and then try and find it naturally in your lifestyle? That's what I do, is I experience something, and then I remember the feeling at the end of that experience, and then I say, can I do something in my day-to-day life to recreate that experience? Anything can be a medicine or a drug or poison or medicine, depending on how it's being used. Like even alcohol. Alcohol is poisonous to the human body, but alcohol is a delivery mechanism. It helps deliver certain nutrients into the body faster. So sometimes poison is what heals you. If I sent someone over to you right now to poke and push your buttons in the different areas of your life that you were unconsciously in the ways that you were unconsciously behaving that were toxic to your life and where you want to go, and I sent someone over there to poke those different areas and test those boundaries so that you could see that lesson, that's a poison that I threw in there into your life as an experience so that you could learn how to move through those behavior patterns. If you have terrible boundaries, I'm going to send someone over there to test your boundaries. That's a poison to you. That's going to push every one of your buttons so that you learn how to set a boundary. And eventually you'll learn how to set a boundary. So was it a medicine, or was it a drug, or was it a poison? You get to choose. But at the end of the day, these are all stimulants for experiences. And what you learn and what you extract out of that experience is your choice. And if you want to learn how to do it yourself, that's also your choice. Memorize the feeling and then find other ways to get there by yourself. If you want to get really high on your own supply, you can do fascia maneuvers. If you want to get really high on your own supply, you can do breath work. If you want to calm down, you can walk in nature. You can hug a tree. You can meditate. You want to feel grounded, you can eat rice and beans. You can put your feet on the ground. You can listen to waves at the ocean. There's all these different ways to get to the end feeling. How you choose to get there is your choice. And the path that you choose has pros and cons. Every path that you choose to take, some of them have more consequences than others. Like if you were to eat rice and beans to get grounded, you have to process that. You have to digest it. You have to use your energy to get grounded. Versus if you walk on the beach and listen to the waves, you don't have to process any of that. You don't have to use your energy to digest. So there's two different paths to experience grounding. And one of them you have to use energy, the other one you don't. One of them you feel more rejuvenated and alive and relaxed and it's more natural, and the other way you're actually doing a bit more work in order to do it. So you get to choose, and there's no right or wrong. It's your experience. Making the cacao, I feel giddy. Yes. So what is your favorite way to feel good? Like if I were to describe, what is your favorite way to feel euphoric in your body? Put it in the comments. Is it breath work? Is it meditation? Is it movement? Is it a sport? Is it running? Is it Sky? Can you see her? She's right there. Walking, yeah, walking, dancing, floating in water. Let's see. Longboarding. You know what's funny? What happens when you keep the body busy? When you keep the body busy, the mind floats. Sky! Shh! Okay, let's go. Let's go hang out with Sky for a second. Sky! What's up?
I can take her indoors.
There you go. Bye, Sky. So when you keep the body busy, the mind can float. And a lot of people, they like that. One of the things that I do is I keep the body... Actually, sorry. You keep the body busy, the mind calms. If you keep the body still, the mind floats. And so, depending on what you want and the experience that you want, you can do different things. Like meditation. You're keeping the body still, and your mind floats in different directions. And a lot of meditation practices tell you to stay in the present moment, but I actually like to do something different. I like to create from there. I like to go into different places, like what would the world look like if this, and what happens here, and let's try this, and let's try that. And then the other way is you keep the body busy, and the body's so busy that the mind calms down. And a lot of people are in their head all the time. So walking, dancing, running, swimming, anything that's a repetitive movement that has a cadence to it calms the mind down. So if you're really busy in your mind, do something that keeps your body at a cadence, and it will keep you calm. But if you want to create, what I like to do is to keep my body still and then let my mind wander. And sometimes I'll guide it a little bit, but if you create from your mind in an energetic way, then you're not using a lot of energy. So I actually heard this guy talking about the flow state, and he was talking about like Einstein and Elon Musk and Steve Jobs and some of the top creators or innovators in the world. And they had this practice where they would lie down completely still and close their eyes and just create. And that's a beautiful place to create from, because you can move things around and move pieces like a little chessboard without using any energy. And you can test how different things feel. So if you've seen the Queen's Gambit, she does it. There's all the like chess pieces on the top, and she like moves them all around to figure out which is the best avenue to go to win the game. Or if you're redesigning your room, you can imagine moving your couch to the left side. No, how about the right side? No, how about at the front? Oh, that actually feels good. Okay, great. So you can move your entire room around just by using your mind and imagining it and feeling what each of them feel like. So, does it feel good here? No. Does it feel good here? No. Does it feel good over here? Oh yeah, that feels good. Okay, great. Now you've used no physical energy. You were able to move the couch around really fast in like 10 different positions, and now you know which one to do. And that is a very good way to create. And that's how I create. I lie down completely still, and I let my mind just wander, and I sometimes guide it into a topic or an area that I'm focused on, versus doing it in the physical world, because in the physical world you have to use a lot of energy. Barefoot in a forest creek. Yes, barefoot's always good. Moment of grief, seeing sky. How come? That's like the first time I've ever seen her tied up. Surfing. Yeah, surfing would be a good way to do it. Sometimes it's actually good to combine the two, where one of them you keep the body busy, the mind calms, and then you go and keep the body still and then let the mind create. That combo, when you do them together, works really well. Does anybody else lie down and create from that? Hello. I can't hear you. Where are you from? Huh. For some reason, I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. There you go.
Good morning, guys.
Morning.
I look crazy.
I can't hear you. Where are you from? Huh. For some reason, I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. There you go.
Good morning, guys.
Morning.
I look crazy. How are you guys doing today?
Good. New moon, so just hanging tight, seeing what happens.
Good for you. Yeah, I need to make some tea.
Where are you from?
I'm from San Jose, California.
And when's
Right.
your birthday?
November 25th, 1995.
Sagittarius.
Yes.
Okay. And what brings you up today?
I finally got some rest that I needed, and I hadn't gotten any sleep. I was like really sleep deprived from all of the medication that they had me on. They had me on a lot of steroids, and today I actually have an appointment with a psychiatrist because they think I'm crazy. But honestly never been more centered in like my life. It's been a long journey, but I'm here and I'm still smiling and I feel great.
Have
And
you
it's
done
just
our maneuvers before?
um I've heard of them. However, I've been helped also just by, for privacy reasons, I don't want to share by who, but by somebody who speaks the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys can look him up. Um, but I don't know if I should say his name, but people thought he was crazy, and he's not crazy. And he really helped me, like, um, just finding like how to like just listen to my body, taking deep breaths rather than using all of the, all of the roids, and just like, let me grab some chapstick because I need chapstick.
Sure.
1 second, okay, I'll be right back.
What's that Steve Jobs quote with Apple? It was like, the ones who think they can, the crazy ones who think they can change the world are the ones that actually do. Something like that.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
yep.
And we
Sometime
won, by the way.
we won. Who won?
Yeah, we won world peace. Um,
You mean right now?
I mean, we're still like in the bad. I know there's a lot of like hurt going on, you know?
But
There's a lot of sadness, a lot of bad things happening.
mhm.
But luckily for everyone, I'm what you call the chosen one. If you guys are ready to hear, I'm ready to tell my story because I actually got some really good rest last night and like a baby. So if you guys would like to hear, I'm ready to share.
I think one of the questions that comes up for me first is, you said that we finally have world peace, or that we won, but can you have one? Can you have the light without the dark?
Well, I mean, I can sleep through the night without the dark for sure.
No, but I
And I just smile.
I just mean as a general, without good you can't have bad, without light you can't have dark,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So
sure.
I guess it was kind of like the medicine poison example that I was using earlier. And I think that there will always be experiences that are perceived as good or bad, and experiences that are perceived as light or
Well,
dark.
for sure.
And you can't have one without the other.
I agree. I mean,
Hmm.
I can't save them all, you know? Like I think I've done what I had to do, and I was just so sleep deprived that people like they thought I was
Yeah.
crazy, if that makes
So
sense. And I mean,
let's
it
hear
was
your story.
okay. Well, I'm 28 years old, born November 25th, 1995. However, I'm not here to share my 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 father's story or my grandfather's story because that's not for me to say, that's personal. They did go through like traumatic experiences as well, and they didn't know how to find the help that they needed. So one thing that has helped me is that I was in therapy since 2019, which is when I actually got my tumor. That's when yeah, and they thought I had MS, multiple sclerosis. But I know what I have. Like I've never been more centered in my life, and I just listen to my voice, and healing for me, healing other people, like singing was like my number one dream. If you knew like little Nomi, Nomi was love. She was light. She loved animals. She loved so many things. Like she just loved everything and had empathy for everyone. And like even seeing people walking down on the street, homeless people, um, old old elderly people, anyone and everything. Let me just put this so that it doesn't fall because of my phone. But yeah, like she loved everyone and everything, and she was just pure innocence, pure light, pure she was a drama queen, always been a drama queen.
Hmm.
Loved loved being dramatic. And then what else? But she was just empathetic and like and had love to give for everyone. So I just like listen to my body and what it needs and what it tells me. And And yeah, the ones that people think that are crazy are actually the ones that speak the truth, honestly. So I don't know. I'm not sure if he's ready to, I know he's not because he taught me a lot of boundaries and like, because not everybody is ready, to like hear the word. Excuse me, I'm sorry. But if you guys listen to Ye West gospel music, Ultralight Beam, I'm actually in the song. And it's my part is this little light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, this little pot light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. And that's just a little part. But like I said, like he speaks truth and he knows what's up. And he's been helping me like center myself and just control my emotions. But I was just so sleep deprived. They had me on 800 milligrams of like, I think it's like prednisone or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a lot. And before that, so I've been on steroids, I believe, since like so I had brain surgery, right? I had brain surgery to check what was in my head because they thought it was MS. And I had like spinal taps and so many like procedures that are really painful and it was just like really hurt. It was a long journey,
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I went to therapy since 2019, so I started that. But like, I mean, I know exactly who I am. I know what I deserve, and I'm not ashamed nor afraid. They know where I live, and I don't care because they've been calling me, and I think they're more afraid of me than I am of them because I'm
Who
just full of light.
who's who's afraid?
Um, mm, the capitalists, the ones that don't want to change, the ones that
Okay.
don't want the ones that don't want us to win, basically. But we already won, and I know that there's a lot of hurt still out there. However, I'm the instrument. This is why I keep so much faith. I'm the instrument, and I'm. Let me get my gloves too because I get really cold really easily. One moment, please. Hold, please. Yeah, like those.
So I think what will help. I mean, we have an awesome audience and
Yeah,
very non-judgmental, very supportive, very
yeah,
safe
that's
place.
great. Yeah,
Um, in this conversation, I think that there's something that you want to say, and there's parts of it that you're sharing, and other parts that's either lacking context or being hidden. But I
yeah.
think, I mean, if you want to, this is a great place to share those things. Oh, she left. All right. It's very interesting. We watched Bug's Life a couple of years ago, and we were watching it. We were down and out detoxing, Gary, Cynthia, and I, and I think the bugs were like trying to fight back against the wasp or something like that. I can't quite remember, but one of the things that we learned through this movie was, how do you handle a bully? You don't react. You don't fight back. Because what the bully's doing is the only way that they can persist is if there's a reaction. The reason why they enjoy it is there's a reaction. Have you ever made fun of your friend and you do it because you enjoy the way that they react? Or you have fun, or you play with your friend and you enjoy watching their reaction? But the people who don't react, you stop making fun of, you stop bullying, you stop bothering. And I think that in the conversation of winning war, peace, who's right, who's wrong, dark, light. I think that we can play the game of who's right and who's wrong. And I think that people will always play that game. And I think we can play that game of fighting and defending. But I choose to not play that game anymore. I choose to look at it as we need both. And we need both in order to grow, and we need both in order to understand ourselves and to constantly evolve. And we can't necessarily eliminate them. That you can't. It's just, it's not possible. There are two sides. There's always two sides. But I can choose not to pick a side, and I can choose to appreciate both sides, and I can choose to share the positives or the things that I believe in without talking negatively about another side. So with Human Garage, and when we first started this, a lot of the message was, the medical system's doing this, and this is not good, and this is what's happening, and look, wake up, come on, can't you see it? And I get it. That's one approach. The other approach is, let's talk about healing your body and looking younger and being better people and changing your life and transforming yourselves and showing up the best version of yourself. And here's the ways that you can do it. Instead of bashing aside, instead of saying what's right or wrong, we're just sharing something that's worked for us. And we're just sharing a message that we believe in. And we're sharing it from a positive lens. Here's the things that you can do in order to help yourself so that you can live better, so that you can show up as a better person in your relationships, at your work, with your family. And that's the message that we're delivering now. We're not delivering the message of these people are hurting you. The world is such a bad place. We need to attack. We need to fight back. We need to defend. We need to do this or that. Like, that's a game, and I don't want to be a part of that game anymore. That's exhausting. It wears you out. It's going to inspiring people, sharing a different world, sharing a different message, playing a completely different game. And by playing a completely different game, we'll see a different world in a few years. I've seen it already in our community and what we're growing. I believe that we actually have one of the strongest global communities. We might not be the biggest, but we are one of the strongest because we have people who are helping each other, and we have people who are taking care of themselves, and we have people who are connecting irrespective of countries, irrespective of language, irrespective of backgrounds. We have people connecting with each other, trying to help each other become better people. And there's not many communities that I know of right now that have people in 80 countries working together to better themselves and better each other. That's what we're building. We're building it online. You can join our programs. You can participate in that world and in that community and in that vision if you want to. That's your choice. And you can let everybody else fight each other if they want to. But we're going into a world where we see people working on themselves, taking care of their bodies, actually doing what they want to do in a day, living in community, doing the right things for themselves. Okay. So if you haven't already, you can sign up for our programs, get into the 1 day, get into the 3 day, then do the 7 day, work your way into the 28 day. We have a community there ready to help you and support you along the way. And where this is going is properties all over the world in nature that have organic, clean, healthy products to take care of people that live there. And we'll have communities, we'll have children learning from the parents, we'll have parents learning from the children. We're going to have our own food, our own fruits, our own vegetables, we'll have our own electricity, and there's going to be properties all over. So you can go and experience them in different countries with different people in different backgrounds. And that's what I see. That's what I want. That's the world I see. That's the world I'm creating. And you're all a part of it if you want to by going through our programs. And once you get through that, then we'll talk more about it. So thank you, everybody, for showing up today. If you haven't already, start the resets, and then you'll join us in the community as you move through it. Go to our website. You can sign up there. See you in the next class.